My name's John Mackay. I'm the writer and director of We'll Take Manhattan, the drama about 1 week in the lives of the young David Bailey and Jean Trimpton. They took a wild trip to New York on behalf of UK Vogue. I guess the idea of making a film came to me first when I read an article about the NYJSDB 62 session, which came out at the same time as Bailey's retrospective album of photos from that time. And looking at the photos, which are so beautiful, so full of grit and romance at the same time, and reading the story behind them made me feel there was definitely something here. There was something about the time, the change from the drab 50s into the kind of dynamic, colourful 60s, and there was some sort of a love story. There was young people misbehaving and falling in love going on here, and I like the sound of that. When I had the idea for the film, one of the first things I knew I had to do was I had to convince Bailey that it was a good idea. I wrote down my idea and I sent it to his studio. I said, can I come and talk to you about this? And all credit to Bailey, who is in his 70s but always open to a new and fresh idea. He said, okay, go for it.
In America, it would be evident.
The first thing I noticed about Bailey was how much he can talk. And it was important to me in the casting of the film that we get somebody who has that kind of twinkly, chatty charm. And an Iron Barnard is incredibly good at this.
Something they haven't seen before. What you do next week? We'll start Monday and I'll pick you up.
Many tried for Bailey. I met almost every young male actor in London. But somehow, Nye, from Wales, with curly hair, managed to out-Bailey all of them. The thing about Jean Trimpton is that she probably is not the most vocal, the most assertive person in the story. But that doesn't mean she's not the most important. There are certain points of view that say that it's a Cinderella story, a kind of ugly duckling story, where Jean blossoms under Bailey's attention, and through her own determination she goes from girl to woman during the course of the story. I knew I needed someone who would be able to animate that inner fire and keep us with Jean, even though, compared with Bailey and Lady Claire, she didn't have half so much stuff to say. She was a character of feeling and being, not of chat, chat, chat. And Karen Gillan is just wonderful at that. You just want to watch her. She's so evidently thinking stuff she's not saying.
Can I help?
Karen had also been a model at one point earlier in her career, and she took to the whole modelling business like a duck to water. And position. Lady Claire needed a real heavyweight performer. Somebody who would be able to scare the bejesus out of a young Bailey and Jean.
You could learn something if you follow the instructions, Mr. Bailey.
And at the same time, not become a kind of Cruella de Vil caricature.
Certainly, madam. My ashtray's full.
We're really, really lucky to get the attention of Helen McCrory. Helen McCrory, an amazing actress who goes into character in such depth.
Of course.
And the thing that was always very important for Helen was Lady Claire's point of view.
Consider it done.
What she managed to do by always maintaining in her own mind Lady Claire's belief that she was right, and for good reason, is that she was able to represent the humanity behind the Dragon Lady. So in the end, I believe you quite like Lady Claire, and you see that Bailey and Jean's victory was not without some loss for the world in the casting out of Lady Claire Rendlesham. I knew right from the beginning that there had to be some sort of jazz score in We'll Take Manhattan. Bailey, of course, was a jazz nut. He genuinely believed that the 60s was going to be all about jazz. In fact, he talks about it now, and he's very dismissive of the rock and pop of the 60s. Truly, he's a visionary of the late 50s. He's not actually the Austin Powers shite-tastic 60s guy that everyone thinks he is. In honour of Bailey, we wanted to get a kind of flavour of Chet Baker and cool jazz into the film. Kevin Sargent, the composer, very unusually put together a jazz quartet and they recorded the score live. This was real musicians making real noises with their real instruments, in much the same way as Bailey would have been listening to in the jazz clubs of the time. It's very unusual for a little BBC drama to be allowed to shoot in New York. It cost a lot of money to get there, it cost a lot of money to buy permission just to stand there and shoot stuff. But it was clear from the beginning that no matter how tiny the budget for this production was, we would have to get to New York, because Bailey and Jean got to New York and it would seem fake if we never got there. Our principal challenge is that it was hard for the New Yorkers to recognize that we were a film crew. In American film and TV making, then you buy the block. You park up 12 enormous trucks which have all the lights and the sound gear and the props in them. We were about 6 to 8 people coming out of the UK with our little camera and our little sound kit, shooting on the streets of New York. And everywhere we went, security guards would come out and stand in our shot because they were very curious as to what these weird-looking people from England were doing. I think they thought that we were some kind of terrorist plot. The height of this was when we were shooting on the Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge is an ancient New York landmark, and Bailey and Jean really shot there. So we had to really shoot there too. Unfortunately, the bit you can stand on is a walkway made of wooden slats. It's no wider than about 10 feet wide, into which they cram hundreds and thousands of tourists and bikes and joggers. It's amazing that none of those pedestrians, bikers and joggers who are just out of shot figure at all in the movie. Reconstructing the photos was one of the most intense and involving pieces of archaeology in the making of We'll Take Manhattan. And when we were doing our recce, as we call it, in New York, to work out where these places might be in our movie, we were lucky enough to get to some of the real places where they took their pictures, using maps and intuition. For instance, the corner in front of the UN where Bailey shoots Jean through a dirty chain link fence, very unconventional shot for Vogue at the time, is exactly there. It's there unchanged in any detail. I nearly jumped in the air when I discovered that chain link fence in that corner, because that's it. We were able to remake the exact shot that Bailey shot over 40 years before. The rooftop where Bailey shot Jean in the yellow jersey in front of the UN is also still there, and we were able to get on or very, very close to the spot where he made that shot. We knew that they famously stayed at the St. Regis Hotel in Midtown Manhattan because Bailey was famously told, "You will not wear your leather jacket in the St. Regis." Of course he did. Nearby would have been where they took most of their pictures. There are pictures taken out of their bedroom window. There are pictures taken on the rooftop of the St. Regis. There were pictures taken at the nearby UN Plaza.
Today, we are scheduled to shoot Miss Shrimpton in front of the United Nations Plaza in the suede battle dress pullover. In keeping with the grandeur of the architecture, you will use a tripod. She will appear elegant.
As long as you do the superhero pose, everything will be fine.
Indeed.
Setting up for another green screen here.
The shot of Jean underneath the Curb Your Dog sign at the UN Plaza is a complete recreation. We had the sign, and that was about it.
It's 280, take 2.
Okay, very quiet, please. Running.
Okay.
You ready?
Bailey? Bailey, are you sure about this?
Absolutely. But nothing. I can't see an old chain link fence anywhere. Can you, Larry?
No, I don't see a chain link fence. Probably because of the great big sign about dog poop.
Actually, we didn't work out whether this was meant to be truly set until very late in the day. I'd imagined it was made down on the ground in front of the York Plaza, but it was a CGI expert who said to me it couldn't have been made there. If you look at the lines of perspective in the original picture, it must have been made about 200 feet back and about 50 feet up. Luckily, he had a picture taken from that pavement and we were able to do the true thing in the right place in the end.
I think we'll do Fifth Avenue.
We know that he shot Jean on Fifth Avenue. St. Regis Hotel borders onto Fifth Avenue.
Well, that's it now. Now, roll your shoulder a bit. That's it, a little lean. Now, into the window. Yeah, we're not quite there. Stupid bloody hairdo.
He shot a wintry picture of Jean reflected in a puddle on Fifth Avenue with a bunch of little pines in pots close by. We got lucky. We spotted some pines in pots on Fifth Avenue. I think it was outside the Trump Plaza. And we were shooting in a very hot and humid May. They, of course, would have been shooting in a very cold and sleety February. But we got the cleaning guy out of the Trump Plaza to wet down the pavement for us. And we produced ourselves a puddle in the same spot. One of the most involved recreations that we had to make was what we call the twist shot. Perhaps one of the most archetypal shots from the session. Jean is pictured on a street corner next to a walk, don't walk sign, and she's underneath a banner that says twist, and a guy in jeans is just walking along behind her, frozen in motion as he lopes along the pavement.
Done.
We think it's very normal now that fashion should be pictured in real places among real people. It was revolutionary then.
I'm freezing me tits off here.
Of course, that corner no longer exists. What we did was we did it all in CGI. We had a real stop sign, we had a real meter, we had a real peppermint twist banner, and the rest is all recreated. The cars that pass, the texture on the wall behind, the deep background of the picture is imagination.
It's not about the epoxy clothes. It's about the street in actual fact. It's about the noise. It's about the drunk guy over there. It's about the steam. It's about that big plastic sign that says twist, which will appear 3 to 4 inches above Jean's head in the magazine spread. It's about the vibe.